the Biden administration, with the cooperation of Congress, is showering gazillions of dollars, no, technically just billions, but billions of dollars on schools and states and school districts under the guise of promoting full service community schools and mental health. So really what's going on here, folks, and we've touched on these full service community schools before, but what's going on here is these institutions, I call them parental replacement centers, they are being empowered to basically replace the family and replace the church as the center of the child's life. They feed the child, they care for the child, they basically take care of the child in every way other than maybe bedtime stories and things. Right now on the screen, you see the whole school, whole community, whole child model. This is an abomination being promoted by the U.S. Centers for Disease Control. Yes, the same quacks that spent a long time misleading us on numerous different issues. So this is very, very dangerous, folks. But these full-service community schools, if you read the federal documents that talk about them, it becomes very clear that they want to displace parents, displace family, and displace religion, and make the government, and in particular the government schools, the center of life, the center of the community. And they basically want them to take over the dental health, the mental health, the primary health care, the nutritional needs of your child. In many cases, these schools will be feeding your child 3 meals a day: breakfast, lunch, and dinner. They offer what they describe as wraparound services, which don't even get me started. But again, basically, these are all these functions that parents used to traditionally take care of with their children. These are increasingly being moved over to the government's responsibility under the guise of these full-service community schools. Now, if you read the federal documents about these grants and about these new funding streams, they say that these federally funded schools, and I'm quoting here, are designed to meet the social, emotional, physical and mental health and academic needs of students, right? And for thousands of years of human history, parents were in charge of the social, emotional, physical, and mental health and academic needs of children. But under this new model, these full-service community schools will be handling that. That's why I call them parental replacement centers. And folks, don't think that parents are off the hook, right? It's not that they're just going to take your children and then you can just kind of go have fun and play volleyball or go fishing, right? They are coming for you too. If you read the documents again, these full-service community schools are targeting parents. They talk about family services, adult education. They have parenting education, right? So that you take care of the baby slaves. The citizens, the way that the government thinks you need to take care of them. And we've exposed some of these things before, folks. Even back during the Obama administration, the Biden regime, they were peddling this idea. In fact, the Department of Health and Human Services, back during the final waning years of the Obama administration, put out a joint policy document where they said parents could be equal partners with the government in the raising of their own children. But of course, as you read the document, it becomes very clear that the parents will be the junior partners. The parents will basically do what the government says, and if they don't, well, then they have an escalating set of interventions that they will undertake, up to and including taking your children from you using child welfare bureaucrats funded, again, by the federal government, who get bonuses from the federal government to come in and take your children, to over-medicate your children, to diagnose your children with all kinds of quack labels and put them on amphetamines, put them on dangerous psychotropic drugs, etc. And here we go. Here's another thing right from the U.S. Department of Education, folks. These grants will help community schools provide quality wraparound services to students and their families, from access to healthcare and nutritional assistance to tutoring and enrichment opportunities to mental health supports and violence prevention programs, folks. All right, folks, wraparound services. In other words, they're going to wrap their big brother government arms around your children and provide all kinds of services until you can't take any more services, folks. This also is partnered with the mental health stuff, folks. The Biden regime is asking Congress for $127 billion over the next 10 years for mental health garbage for your children, folks. To put that number in perspective, the annual GDP of the state of Vermont is $30 $136 billion, folks. So $127 billion will buy you a whole lot of mental health. Okay, if a psychiatrist costs $100 an hour, you can figure that's an enormous amount of mental health services. Obviously, a lot of that's just going to go straight into the pockets of big pharma. Right, Pfizer didn't get enough money from these injections that obviously don't prevent infections. They didn't get enough money from this ridiculous Paxlovid that Biden took it, got COVID again. Fauci took it, got a rebound case of COVID. So they didn't get enough. So now they're going to be pumping even more money into these big pharmaceutical companies in bed with the government to help them out a little bit. And of course, folks, the side effects of these. I encourage you to read the box warnings and labels that come with these drugs. They are bad news. They may cause suicidal ideation, homicidal ideation. Oops, the kid shot up the school. Who would have ever guessed? We just need more mental health services, right? You see how that works? Folks, this Biden regime is weaponizing our schools against family, against church, against our country, and we must resist. It's unconstitutional. It's outrageous. It's an assault on civilization. It is, in essence, Marxism, right? The state replaces God. The state replaces family. So families, protect your kids from this. State and local governments, you need to protect your constituents from this. Our freedoms and our country depend on it. Thanks, folks. Till next time.